Hey guys, Dislitter Magic here, and kind of a fun video here. Don't take it too seriously. I'm not saying these are realistic predictions. These are all just some wild ideas, some speculation based on, how Wizards usually picks out cards for, fighting the meta, fighting the set before it, working with the set before it, that kind of stuff. So these are all my predictions of what I think might be cards or mechanics or ideas in the next set, which is Ravnica Allegiances. So first off, literally the card Meddling Mage. So it's a blue-white card, so Azorius, and as it comes into play, you name a non-land card. The named card can't be played. So just classic name jamming. This card's like $35-40 at least, last time I checked. After years, people finally realize that this is a very, very, very good card in other formats. Imagine that. Wow, guys, it turns out basically countering something before it even gets cast in the first place so that you don't have to leave mana open might just be a thing to do. Guys, they had to ban Chalice of the Void. I mean, come on. So it's always been good, it's just now people finally found a deck to put it in. So anyway, either this card literally, because it would be a wonderful reprint, although when they finalized the set, which would have been a couple months ago, that might not have been when Meddling Mage was extremely high in price. So they might not have known to make this like the Scape Shift or Crucible of Worlds, which is like the big money reprint. Plus, it would be really functional. It would take out stupid all-in trash like gimmicky Lich decks and I guess Heart of Kirin, even though it's cycled out, but like it would have been a good match for that. Sarkhan's Unsealing, you could name Teferi. It's just all these decks that rely on one card to win. Well, now they don't. So actually, hopefully we don't see literally Meddling Mage. Hopefully it's like an enchantment or an artifact. It was something harder to destroy than a creature. That would be really, really, really nice. Bare minimum, you could name Sinister Sabotage and just don't let them play that. Or name Vraska's Contempt and then they'd have trouble blowing up Meddling Mage. So I think we're going to see name jamming as a way to play around really gimmicky, stupid, all-in, just cover the combo control decks, which everybody hates those. Next up, I think we're going to see an enchantment, probably once again Azorius, because, they're the law. Their whole theme is like law, restricting people, shutting them down, stopping evil. And of course, the Izzet Guild is going to be evil as hell in the storyline, I gather. They're basically working for Bolus, it would appear, and then Demir's trying to stop them. And Demir's a bunch of dicks too, at least in the current meta. Yes, I'm mixing the lore and the meta, get over it. But I think the perfect example of law magic and the perfect fit for right now would be either all players or just opponents cannot cast spells with the same name as cards in their graveyard. So basically you get one shot at it. Jumpstart absolutely shut down because you'd be casting it from your graveyard. But then again, like once you start casting it, then it's in exile, but I think the timing on that wouldn't work. So that's a little harsh, but who would step up to stop Izzet besides Dimir? Azorius. Duh. I hope that someone from Azorius arrests Ral Zarek and then sends him to Guantanamo. But just think about it. No more getting hit by 3 Mind Rots or, 3 Sinister Sabotages or 4 or 2. Now, if you were to mill them on top of that, oh my gosh, it would be a very interesting, unique, mill defense stall technique. But I think that alone would make it too good. And if it was an Azorius card, wow, they'd almost have to make it an Orzhov card, but that wouldn't even make sense unless they're like, oh, they're ghosts, they can do stuff with graveyards. Like it would be pretty loose, but that would be nice. It would stop multiple lightning strikes, multiple shocks. They'd have to get creative. People would have to get real, careful about what they draw, what they scry or surveil. Can't cast more than one Teferi, can't cast more than one, anything, certain counter spells. It would be harsh to play against that, and you'd only have 4 of, so it's not even guaranteed to show up every game, so it wouldn't be like crushing the meta, but it would be really nice if you dropped it in, and even if they really wanted to go hard and made it like a 3-cost enchantment with hexproof on it. I don't think there's a single card in Standard that can get rid of that at this point, if they were to print it that way, and I wouldn't have a problem with that, because just decks that spam the same spell over and over and over are usually really degenerate, and decks that just happen to do it by sheer coincidence are just annoying. So the third thing I think we're going to see is redirect. Just the card redirect, literally the spell that just redirects a spell for 2. Or something like a redirect effect like we had right before rotation, which was Insidious Will. Oh my gosh, I love that card. So just change the target of a spell or multiple targets was one of the 3 modes you could choose. And I think we're going to see that because, Banefire just can't be stopped. Literally it can't be stopped. There's nothing you can do if they cast it. An unanswered spell is usually what they do something about. So you might not be able to counter it, but what if you can change the target? And I think they might go really hard because everybody knows where's the money. And they've been trying to put in powerful money. The last really 6 sets have been trying to put in, you know, some big like $20 cards or something like that. And not just like, oh, real useful and standard mythic. I'm talking like, oh, the new best of removal Assassin's Trophy in formats that aren't standard. So I mean, you add in 5 shock lands and those 6 cards by themselves were responsible for about 1/5 of the value of 1 box of Guilds of Ravnica. No joke. So they're thinking, okay, we want to sell some stuff. Let's put in, you know, Scapeshift, Crucible of Worlds, and all these big money reprints that are just a waste of time in standard and do next to nothing, but they're money. So they've been injecting money into standard lately. Well, if you're not going to do it with lands, how do you do it? Print a best of, like Assassin's Trophy. Once again, it's still not a terrifically good card in standard, especially with as slow as standard is right now and the massive availability of mana and mana fixing. I had somebody hit me with 3 of them in a game, so like turn 10, I Rivers Rebuked them and then swung for the win. You're not going to give me 3 extra lands and not get burned by it. That's incredibly stupid. But I mean, people are going to want it for other formats where you know you're going to win on like turn 4, 5, or 6. So of course, like give them an extra land. What the hell are they going to do with it? Their deck's tuned perfectly to be on curve. I mean, in all likelihood, in like Legacy or Modern, they don't have anything to do with that extra land because it wasn't in the plan. So of course, it's a $20, $30 card in those formats. It's just really not that great in Standard. Vraska's Contempt is an infinitely better card in almost every circumstance. But it can't blow up a flip land. Who cares? So that whole lead up, the evidence, the patterns, what they've been doing for the last sets, even going back to Aether Revolt especially, where there was a ton of new Modern and Commander staples, I think they're going to print a new best of universal 3-cost counterspell. And obviously it's disallow, I mean, you know, counterspell if you go old enough, but I really don't know what it would be before that. Maybe render silent or dissolve, maybe, I don't know. But clear as day it was disallow as of the release of disallow, because that can just stop anything. I think they're going to go one harder, and we're going to finally see pay double blue, single generic, counter target spell, or change its targets. It's going to be the old cancel, redirect combo, and they might mix white with it maybe, just to restrict it. It wouldn't make sense at all from a flavor standpoint. Well, actually, it could say exile target spell, because then you could only target a spell that's on the stack. That would make it kind of white, I guess. To make it white, blue, generic, and then let it also redirect. That would be the king of counterspells, but I mean, if they're going for money, they're going to have to make it mono blue. They really are. I mean, otherwise you add a color, you very much limit what it can go in. But either way, I think we're going to see that. I really do. I mean, Insidious Will pretty much was that. But it costs 4, so to say that that's a good counterspell when you have to leave 4 mana open, no. Especially for Modern and, well, Commander, you could probably get away with it, but especially for Modern. So that's my, I don't know, what, third prediction? We're going to see a counter or redirect hybrid spell that costs 3. Next, I think we might actually see a full-blown graveyard recycler, like a universal huge one, like just enormous. And it might even be targeted so that you could wipe out somebody's stockpile of undergrowth, jumpstart, everything. So I'm calling it right now, Elixir of Immortality. It costs 1 to drop in, it's an artifact, you pay 2, tap it, gain 5 life, shuffle this card and your graveyard into their owner's library. But I think they might make it target an opponent too, so you'd still gain the life, or maybe they will make you give them the life, you know, as a penalty for you making them recycle their graveyard. But it would be anti-mill, but it would also like clear out undergrowth and all that crap, and you know, that would go with the tradition of them stomping on the set before it to sell the new set. You just take the mechanic and make it super not a thing. And to really do that, you have to make it colorless. You can't just make it like a black card or something and then, well, okay, black can stop this. Okay, well, that's wonderful. I mean, we might even see Tormod's Crypt. We haven't seen that in a while. It's a 0-drop artifact, by the way, and you just pay nothing, tap it, sack it, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. 0 drop, 0 activation, tap it the same turn it came out, and bye-bye graveyard. Or will they get extra super spicy and do like a 1 or 2 drop with like a free ability, or a 0 drop with like a 2 ability? No, keep it cheap and keep it completely colorless. And then it'll just say, exile target opponent's graveyard, you draw a card. So it's a completely cheap cantrip. Colorless self-replacer that can go in anybody's sideboard. Ooh, there goes the graveyard decks. That would be nice. Now, another prediction is that they're going to double up on Ashes of the Abhorrent, which is right now a card that I thought would really take off in alternate formats. I'm sure that's what they were shooting for. It absolutely kills certain decks, but the problem is it only kills certain decks. It's the perfect antidote for very particular decks. Oh, by the way, the card is a 2-cost, single white, single generic enchantment that says players can't cast spells from graveyards or activate abilities of cards in graveyards. So that just completely shuts down graveyard decks. So once again, Jumpstart, Izzet, Golgari, all that stuff. Maybe it'll be colorless, maybe it'll be white, maybe it'll be blue-white. Who knows? It could even be Orzhov colors, black-white. But I think with that plus Ashes, because that is legal, it was printed in Ixalan, that might be enough for people to be like, okay, I can actually reasonably shut down those decks. But then it's like, oh, well, I built my whole deck to shut down another deck. It has to actually do something. Now, Ashes says whenever a creature dies, you gain 1 life. So any creature, your side, their side, doesn't matter. Ta-da. Token or not. That card took the train all the way into Value Town. I mean, that's like jam their crap, and then also you gotta kill me 1.5 times. So will they tack on some crazy universally useful benefit to another card very similar to it? I think they will, because I think they're really gonna dump on graveyards, just in general. I just see that coming. And the last prediction, this one's kind of loose. I think we're going to see like a last stand kind of card when Vraska and probably the Izzet douchebags go on like a rampage fighting the other guilds. Because remember, we know pretty much from the story already, just from like the flavor text in the cards, that she almost definitely kills the current leader of the Azorius Guild, whoever that is. I mean, I'm sure it's technically Azor, so it'll be like his subordinate since he's camping. Oh, you're going to have to read the story to get that joke. But also, I think a couple people go down. Hopefully it's not the leader of Dimir, because he's pretty cool. But I think, whoever falls, we're going to see like an Egyptian god thing going on where it's, their last stand, their final wish, the revenge or the guild's revenge or, whatever. And if I had to guess, it might be something like whenever you destroy a legendary permanent or whenever a permanent with mana cost above 4 leaves the battlefield for any reason or dies or gets exiled or something, then this happens. It'll be some like, oh, you get to kill 2 of their creatures or something. And double points if they call it Vengeance Rising, because that's already a really cool band. The real question is, who would probably do that? I'm thinking maybe Orzhov, maybe, probably Rakdos. I still don't remember which one's Christmas colors. I remember Simic. I'm sure the Christmas people are lovely. They've got elves, they've got Santa as the guild leader. Okay, fine, I just looked it up. It's Gruul. I do not remember one single thing from them in RTR at all. They must have been really super powerful, you guys. Oh wait, there are 2 things I remember. Zertod Druid is the worst thing to happen to the game since Mark Rosewater, and whoever invented Burning Tree Emissary should be fired. That's all I remember though. So okay, one last super prediction about the 3rd set. I think that all the guilds are gonna, make their teams and then just go full-blown World War. I think entire guilds will get effectively wiped out, and, it'll just be the death of Bolus, hopefully. I'm sick of him, I hope he drops dead. And I think it'll probably be Izzet and Golgari versus, well, they might recruit 1 or 2 allies, but versus like the majority of the rest of the guilds. And then Jace is going to give Vraska her memories back. She'll turn on Bolus at the last second. They'll kind of lay a trap, and he'll think that the Golgari are his allies, and then that'll be his undoing. And they have already stated that one of the 3 sets, if not more, are going to have like the mechanic, the core mechanic, the big point of the set will be guilds working together. So it looks like that'll be the 3rd one, because it's introduce them, progressive storyline, and then boom, let's go. Let's make some teams, let's go. So we're going to see 5-color gate garbage and probably a 5-color alternative or bare minimum 4. And that's why I think in the 3rd set we're going to see rare lands that come in tapped and tapped for 4 colors. And it'll be like all the guilds that team up or whatever. So those are all my really wide and really specific predictions for the next set and a little bit the one after that. Hopefully 1 or 2 of them becomes true. Either way, it's kind of interesting to think about because, Standard would definitely benefit from some of the things I mentioned. So leave your totally wild speculations down in the comments section. Should be interesting, and I can't wait for somebody to probably leak a whole sheet. I'll see you guys next video.